Howdy everybody, Daniel from Resurrection Hot Rods here. I've been doing a terrible job at filming as I go. Like I said, I kind of wait for some metal to cool and jump out and work on a few things and then go back in and do a few more tack welds on this bad boy. So we're going to give you a rundown. I actually did quite a few things without filming. Some of them weren't during work hours, but we'll go through a few things here and yeah. So for starters, I went ahead and pulled the doors off, pulled the windows. Oh, I don't know if I had filmed that the last time. So we went ahead and pulled the windows out of this. I'm glad I waited on putting the interior back together because the windshield started delaminating and I already kind of knew that I wanted a new one. And I just kind of like to see what's going on inside of the jams and such, which they look pretty good. The back window, not so much, a little more work than I thought. The sandblaster, the mobile sandblaster, was supposed to come sandblast the fenders, the roof, and the hood. He moved out of state, so that's another obstacle I'm running into. I already started pulling the trim off. I'm gonna DA this thing down. Like I said, there's only one dent and it was in this door, right where like somebody smacked the mirror and it pushed it in a little bit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sand this thing down to pretty much metal, the 320. We're just gonna throw some sealer on there and we're gonna paint it back exactly the same. The rear window, I've already treated it. There was, and obviously it's always in the same spot where the seam sealer didn't get put in properly, and then moisture soaks up through here and then it gets all up in here. So I've already treated that. We have a little mini sandblaster, hit that, use OSFO on it, and then that's just port 15, and then I'm just gonna DA that down. And I'm just gonna use, it wasn't all the way through or anything, it's not super thin. I would like to seal the seat really well, so I'm just gonna use what we call kitty hair, which is fiberglass resin putty. So it's like a glaze almost, but it's fiberglass. And then I'll sand that down and then we'll DP over that and get this thing sanded up and painted. I forgot to take that off. And then the next big step is taking this bed off. We'll bumper first, the bed, and then we are removing the transmission and getting it sent off because it only has reverse. So that's awesome. So I went ahead and this one's almost stripped all the rest of the way down. I did start sanding and treating where the hinges were. There was a little bit of surface rust. I OSFO'd that, sanded it down. We went ahead and seam sealed just the bottom of these doors. And it was a little bit pitted in here just from the rust, and like I said, I'm not going to tear that all apart just for a little bit of pitting. So a little sandblast, a little OSFO, port 15, I sanded it down, and then seam sealed it just so it's nice and smooth. And I'm not selling this truck, it's for me. And then when my son gets old enough, it's probably going to be his truck for a high school. So I'm not really concerned about getting a whole new inner door skin or a different door or whatever. It's going to last plenty long enough, and we did the same on this too. So then I'm going to finish DAing this one down and we're going to jam this in. So it's going to be exciting. They're going to start actually seeing some fresh grays, the light gray and the dark gray, and putting it back together. I got rubber seal kit coming. The windows are fine. I'm going to use them. These bracketries and things like this, I'm just going to go ahead and sandblast those in our sandblasting cabinet and use a little Rust-Oleum. I would love to say I'm going to walk you through that, but I'm not entirely sure sometimes. What's going on? I got the rest of the interior paint. I haven't started on finishing that. I wanted to walk you guys through doing the seat, the upper part of the seat. I showed you the lower part. I've showed you guys before. All this trailer brake wiring is coming out as well, but I shouldn't say I haven't started cleaning this bay up, because I have. I removed all the smog stuff. I have not trimmed this bracket up and sandblasted and powder coated, or that, you know, I was going to powder coat that one too, as well as the power steering brackets and things like that. We'll clean it up. But I was showing you guys how nasty this thing was, and my vacuum secondary is completely froze shut, and the secondaries are still sealed shut to the inside of the carburetor. I have not rebuilt that yet. I can walk you guys through that on a different video. I did get the plugs for the manifolds to get rid of these guys. I got some block off plates so I can get rid of that. And once I get the transmission back, we'll hook up the vacuum, which I think, yeah, right there's the white plug on it for now, just so I can catch the corner of my eye when I'm putting things back together, that needs to have a vacuum to it, the transmission. I already told you guys about the heater, and the heater core is brand new. What else am I waiting on? Oh, I have an interior bolt kit coming. So once I get this thing jammed in, I'm going to sand the jams in, jam that, paint the 2 doors, jams. We're going to rehang the doors, and then I will paint the cab and the outside of the doors and the front clip all in one go. And then I'm going to wait on the bed for now. I'm going to get the transmission in there and everything. Our booth is always packed. And then once I get the windows in and the doors hung back on, I will do a video on putting the interior back together. Because as you can see, it's quite the mess. And I'm still waiting on, it should be here sometime, maybe today, where that is not okay. Yeah, I can't flip back and forth between my AC. So I'm waiting on that cable. Anyhow, we'll do a little walkthrough on what we got going on here. As you can see from the last video, that front clip's missing on that blue truck. Well, that's the owner's, the shop's truck. And right before I went home, he decided that we are pulling the motor right at that moment. So we used the old frame rack and got the all the bolts pulled out of everything and thrown around and all over in the driveway and drained fluids and everything, and now it sits right there. So that engine is a 460, gonna go in the big boy, 78. He ordered camshaft, lifter, springs, head gaskets. We're gonna go through it. Supposedly this was a stock rebuilt motor. It kind of looks to be. Somebody had went through the trouble of painting everything gray, and some of the areas that are painted gray, you wouldn't have had a very easy chance of doing inside the rig, like back here. That's against the firewall. And then it appears that cam plug's brand new. And we're gonna plug these off. These are your EPA vacuum port deals, all coming out of the exhaust there. That's that big round deal that's I'm pointing at in mine that sticks up here. That's what it does. It wires off and goes to this side of the cylinder head, and then it goes to this side of the cylinder head. And we're just going to go ahead and plug this one as well. And then I was pointing out the intake on mine because this intake is going on mine. It's one of those Wind Stealths. Once this comes off, I will go ahead and pull mine, and I will rebuild the carburetor, and I'll put it back together because he has an air gap coming for that one, which they look pretty sweet, not gonna lie. So this is kind of what happened. There's the transmission to it, if anybody wants that. It's from Washington State. And then I guess I can walk you through a couple of the other little doohickeys we got going on. So yeah, the whole front clip came off of this one, which is poking out right there in the used junk pile over there, because basically the trim and front fender and core supports only ain't good on it. I'm going to keep anything off of this that's good. This door has obviously seen better days, and it's you can't see it right here, but it's actually rusted out at the bottom pretty bad. This bed, we're going to keep all the trim and we're going to put it on this truck. This bed's kind of neat. It's seen better days. It's seen better days. And somebody tried fixing it. It looks like 1, 2, 3 times already. This side has the record. It looks like it may have been 6 times, or just laid that many crappy welds built up without argon gas. It looks like flux core. I'm gonna keep this cab. I'm gonna get it dipped. This is what I was talking about. I'm gonna fix any rust in this cab and have it ready for when I find a short box frame, 4-wheel drive. And I think I'm gonna do the blue and white. I always wanted one when I was a kid. Blue and white, two-tone. Probably gonna go with the 390 or 460. I'm not entirely sure yet. Yes, I know it's like, well, you're gonna have to kind of pick something period correct. I don't know. I know 390 is a little bit older of an engine, but a lot easier to come by. We'll put that motor in this one. That bed's getting worked on in the shop. I got some patch panels to do, which, case in point, I forgot. I need to cut some patch panels out of that bed yet. This is the pickup I was telling you about, the 67. It's going to be a short box 4-wheel drive. We're going to leave it patina. I got a few kind of bigger dents like on the cab corner and stuff I'm going to beat out, and then we'll just match the paint. We're going to leave the bumper the way it is, the grill the way it is. And he's building the engine for that as we speak. And that's going to go, just stuff happened. Things just kind of happened. There was a couple trucks here, and that's just what's left of them. The rear ends are off of that short box frame for the orange one right now, because I do need to do some rust repair and some welding on that frame. It was an Alaska truck, and if anybody's ever gotten anything from Alaska or Canada, things are pretty rusty. This will be a big block. This is a true black and white big block truck, but it is a long box. So I'm going to be shortening the frame, shortening the box. We're going to put a 454 in it, which is right over there. And that'll be a fun project as well. This one's going to be super, 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 super nice and expensive build. So I don't know when we'll get to that. Speaking of Alaska truck, on the way over to the frame, I'll show you the cab that came off of it. It's kind of comical. So this was the cab that was on the Alaska short box truck that was the donor for, as you can, we didn't do that. We literally just went to pick it up off the frame and it just fell apart. There was much angle iron and chunks of 2x4 and plywood and things over the years that they tried to keep it together. About the only thing good left on here was the steering column and the back window. I mean, I guess you could take the seat frame, but I want to say that was pretty rusted out as well. I mean, you can see we weren't just being malicious. This thing was bad. Bad, bad, bad. Of course, everything is fixable, but there's a point where it's like, okay, come on. That's a little extreme. I mean, even the side of the dash just completely went away. It's incredible. But it was on this frame back here. We, well, I guess not we. I was working and on one of the rigs in the shop, and I hear a bunch of giggling out back. And I don't know if anybody has any of those auto body stands, but you kind of wonder, like, what's the weight limit on those things? What can they hold? I hear a bunch of giggling and I hear, come here. I don't know why. No, I am not working on it like this. In fact, I'm walking further away than the camera's showing. It was kind of funny though, because you do kind of wonder, how strong are these things? That's pretty strong. I mean, he was bouncing it pretty good. Okay, so the problem with this was, I mean, this is how all the cab mounts were. That's a core support mount, obviously, but that's how all the cab mounts were. This one was completely rotted off and gone, so we just buzzed the rivets off, and I'm gonna buzz those ones off, and we're gonna bolt those two on. That's the front cab mount. There's the other one, core support. There's our problem. Right on all the pressure of the front leaf spring. So I don't know that that would be a very good idea to go putting them all back together and not addressing this. So I'm going to section this frame. We have a section that a guy brought out. We're going to bolt this cross member back in rather than rivet it. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to leave, obviously, like basically a reference point. I'm probably gonna leave the top of this, but take the bottom like into here somewhere, because I'm trying to lean over without the frame falling on my foot. This stuff's all pretty thin down here. All through here is all pretty thin. That side's pushing it, but I think we're gonna make do. We got brand new, beefier front core support mounts, which is your front leaf spring mount as well, bolt on, aftermarket. And then we're gonna send this thing off to sandblast. We're gonna powder coat it. We are gonna sand down the powder coat because that makes a great base. And then we're gonna re-powder coat it so it's flat, because it is very, very pitted. And the strongest durable way you can go is powder coating on these frames. And so we'll powder coat it, sand it down, re-powder coat it, and then we'll start putting it together. Anyhow, oh, the box I was telling you about in the different videos between the buildings. This thing's already been stripped and sealed. And there's a couple spots here and there that aren't the prettiest that we're gonna address a little bit. But this is going to get painted to match that orange truck. It's going to be patinaed out. Anyhow, all the way back around to square one. There you have it. Okay, guys. Well, that's kind of a check-in. When I do a little bit more things here and there on this truck and taking some things apart, I'll walk you through it if I get a chance to. If I'm working in the middle of working, I'm not going to be YouTubing in the middle of working, so that I don't get paid for it, for one. And two, it's pretty noisy around here when everybody's here. But it's the 4th of July weekend. A lot of people took off early and aren't going to be here tomorrow. So maybe we'll be here tomorrow. Maybe I'll walk you through the old Pro Street Nova. Oh, I will walk you through that. Be careful who does your metalwork, people. This is the one that was showing you that had the flush mount doors that I had to try to pull the... This is the bracket for the flush mount door here. It's got to go... Well, it goes like this. Recessed in there. So I'm doing... I had to cut it all apart. I couldn't do it. It was too bad. The door was all wavy. It was all chopped up, nasty. I actually kept the piece. And it was actually rusted between that bracket and the metal, and it just got done not too long ago. This was behind there. I couldn't do it. I just like, you know what? And then that was welded into there. And this was just an ugly, floppy mess. And you can see all these little spots. I was trying to pull little dents out with our dent puller there. Those things are sweet if you don't have one. Maybe I'll show you that on a short one of these days. I tried pulling some of that out and it was just too wavy, too bubbly. There was too much metal in spots, not enough in others. This one came out okay-ish, but I have a feeling once he sees that this is, you know, as nice as I could get, whatever was going on there, I already don't like what I'm feeling right there. Because, I mean, you got to put that much mud in there. I don't know if I can get the camera to really see. That's about 1/4 of an inch. I porter powered this out, and then I've been sitting there with that little dent machine just pulling little dents out here and there. I got a feeling I'm cutting this one out too. And he don't want to get all new doors. He just said go ahead and just cut that piece out and put a new one in. I would have personally just got a whole new door. He did not want to go that route. And then obviously patch panel in there where the two seams, they go in like this and like this. And it was a big old hole and you'd have 1/2 inch of mud there. Can't do that. I had to split this quarter all the way down because it was just like, because when they quartered it, they just cut it. Not on, I like cutting them right on the edge. So you have a stiff, it stiffens this layer up and it stiffens this side up. I like to split this seam. And sometimes you have to hand dolly them a little bit and to get them fit just absolutely perfect. But then that will keep you from getting all wavy. You can't tell here because this is all mud underneath this DP that I keep finding. But you can see where he cut it. Look how far in he cut that. That is so hard to keep in a straight line when you cut inside of a flat panel like that instead of on an edge. Little pro tip. And this was not my idea, smoothing that out. Not my idea. I had to cut the taillight pockets all the way back out. He tried doing his over down the back, over across the top, down, and then over into the trunk with his quarter panels, and it was just atrocious, horrible. So I had to cut that all loose. I just finished kind of getting that roughed in. Yeah. All right, guys. God's good. God's great. We'll keep you posted on everything that comes our way. Thanks for checking in on the Resurrection Hot Rod.